Request from Mayor Doug Murphy to contract with Temp Force 2 temporary workers, Connie Willett and Pam Ogle, for animal shelter at the rate of $9 per hour for a period of 6 months each. Real quick, that actually will be $12.15 an hour, if I recall correctly, Trish, because that is through Temp Force.
It is.
And
let me make sure that's the cents is right.
We
$12.15.
We will actually be paying Temp Force $12.15, but the employees will be receiving $9 plus Temp Force charges. So, discussion there.
How many hours?
You'll have to ask the mayor.
40. 40. Yeah. And have we made arrangements that that's just one of the costs of operating? If we got a handle on the other costs. I know you said temporary, but at the same time, we got to have some continuity with this. If that's going to be the direction that we go, we need to have an idea of what it's going to cost us outside of just a couple of people.
Well, and we've still got some things to work out, Tom. We're trying right now to get it back open. Michelle started back picking up animals, and we're taking surrender animals now. So we're just kind of taking it day at a time, and we've got some other things to work out. We don't have all the answers yet, but we're working on it.
I bring that up because that could be a significant amount of money, more than this could be, depending on whether we have. I don't want us to go into this blind with the idea that we got a handle on this and have it come back and cost a whole lot more than we thought it was because we didn't think of that.
Well, and like I've told all of you, the final decision is going to be up to the city council as to what we do. All we're trying to do right now is to get it back open and provide the service to the city. And to be honest, right now, that's all we see is for us to do it right now. Like I said, if y'all want to take it in another direction, that's going to be your decision.
I'm just not sure that this is as a sound financial decision, in that I know there are an awful lot of factors that are going to go into this, that I guess the lack of a plan going forward is a problem for me. That it leaves a lot of things open-ended, and that can, besides create more problems, it can get quite expensive. Things like,
well, it's always been expensive.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying is, but by committing to this, we're also committing to other expenses down the road, and we have no idea what they are.
Well, we have worked with some of the local veterinarians and they give us list of their charges, and we're in the process right now working out all the charges. So, like I said, I don't have today. I don't have all the answers, but we've got it. We're trying to get it back open, and right now we're on a limited basis out there, but we're a lot further along than we were 2 weeks ago. I'll say that.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
And what happens when it fills up? What happens? Are we going to bring in Birmingham again to haul animals off because we're overcrowded? Are they going to euthanize? Are they going to try to get rescues involved? Because see, this isn't going to take very long. When people find out that it's open, I work at Emrys. I work right down the road from the shelter. I see this on a daily basis. I see the dogs dumped because people don't want to pay $25 to surrender their dogs.
They're not going to have to pay $25.
Well, then you're going to be overloaded, because when Linda Mass, was her name, was out there, and there was not a fee charged, people came from surrounding counties and left animals. And they euthanized at an enormous rate out there.
Well,
I think that should be the last resort, is euthanization. If there's an animal
and I agree with you, that will be the last resort.
It hasn't been in the past, though.
Well, and I don't want to put animals
I
down
know,
any more
we
than
need
anybody else.
compassion. We need compassion in her. We need compassion in the workers, and if it's ARF back out there, here we go.
ARF's not out there.
It's not two employees that used to work there.
Didn't they work for her?
Yeah.
They did work for ARF, but they're working for the city now. They're not working for.
Well,
But
I mean,
my fear
they're
is
not working
the small amount of time it's going to take to fill it up. Because in this county, there is this mindset that nobody needs to spay or neuter their animals. And it's not going to take no time at all, because I've seen it. I was down there all the time. I have taken dogs from there. I have rehomed dogs. I have rehomed dogs that were thrown out, pregnant dogs. Sonia Chandler, her husband works with me. He's done the same thing.
She's got a yard full now. You do too.
Yeah. And I know that it will not take a month when these people find out that that place is back up and running, when their dogs have puppies. Here, have 10 puppies. Here, have 15 puppies. Here, have 10 cats. There has to be a change of the mindset, or this is going to be the same mess that it has always been.
And I totally agree. I mean, but
And then they.
we've
In other
got to
words, we
start
want
to
to
change
change
the
it.
mindset.
We want to change
the
it.
kill
Well,
shelter.
I mean, if we want to no kill, and we know how to get
sometimes
it. We know how to get it
I know
started.
nobody wants more government. That's all you ever hear. No government, less government. But sometimes to change people's mindsets from 20, 30, 40 years, that's why laws are enacted. That's spay and neuter laws, register your animal laws. All of these things other cities are doing. That's why we ship these dogs. I've sent dogs as far as New Hampshire. I kept a dog for a week and a half that has ended up in Canada. That's why these dogs are sent out of the south and they're up north, because the laws are up there that people can't nobody can just breed their dog. You've got to have a breeding license. But until we change the mentality of this small town into understanding that not everybody's dog or cat, because my goodness, there's enough cats on Maine that I could fill up the shelter. Until we change that mentality, this is going to be a problem that never goes away. It's out of sight, out of mind, because it's not sitting over here in the center of town anymore.
That takes a concerted effort that's backed up by a game plan and knowing what you want to do and how you want to do it, and just opening it back up, I think is, as much as I didn't want to see it close, but, and have those services available. If you don't do it,
every day to
if you don't do it with a game plan in mind, you're going to have continuing problems. And I'll go back to the idea that, and I know there are a lot of folks that have the idea that you need to leave rescue out of it because this is the government. But the reality is that a rescue organization has resources that we as a city don't have. There are people who will gladly and freely give, whether it be money, time, talents, materials, supplies, food, and other things. They will give those things to a rescue organization that has a specific game plan of how they're going to deal with it.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let's just back up and let's get on the same page with what the city's required to do. All right, the city's not required to provide a rescue. Okay, and we've done that for a long time. We provided a rescue foundation, and it just didn't work. What is wrong? Why do we have to have a rescue foundation run the shelter?
Because you didn't have a board.
Hold on, let me finish.
You didn't have a board.
Can I finish, please?
Yeah.
If the rescue foundation is that concerned about the animals, come get them. Come pick them up.
And then what do we do with them?
I don't know.
I do
You don't
every
care.
day.
Pick them up.
You don't care.
Look, we
Every
will-
day
we
I
will
do.
We will
She's
take
got
care.
30 dogs.
We will take. We'll do our part. When we pick up an animal, the city is ready to do our part. As far as we got prices from one of the local vets on vaccinations and everything they need, shots, whatever you want.
What about The cost to put them down and then
Well, it was
incinerate
my
them.
understanding that there was a rescue out of Nashville that when you were in the process of closing it down, that tried to come in and help out with the situation. And there was also a rescue in Fayetteville.
Here
that
she
tried
is,
to-
right here.
That tried, hello, I've never
Hi.
met you. That also tried to help out with the situation. I've worked with the rescue in Nashville. They actually own or organize a shelter in Etowah County. So they will come through here if there's a dog that someone's fostering.
You're talking about the big fluffy dog?
Big fluffy.
Yeah, I've talked,
Let me
I went to
speak
Nashville
on,
and met with that
can I
lady.
speak on that real quick?
Yeah,
I
sure.
talked to Carolyn Morse, okay?
I work next door to Carol.
Okay, Carolyn has been in contact with me this whole time, okay? With the city moving forward with this, that is in plan to have outsources with the rescues. Same thing, Big Fluffy Dog is willing to come in and take a few out. The city, the mayor and I have talked, the same thing. We're gonna get with, I've already spoke with the spay rescue centers and Greater Birmingham with their spay and neuter. So hopefully we can get everything that's gonna be spay and neuter out on the floor, so you're not having to wait to come and adopt. Then we're looking, like I said, the Big Fluffy Dog, she's already made contact with us about doing what they can to come and assist as well.
There's gonna be a lot because they sat out there and gave every dog away. And all the people had to do was say,
we're
I
moving
promise.
past, please, let's move past
We
ARF.
can't move past it until we solve the problem.
Well, the problem is
ARF.
gonna be coming with spay and neuter. Now, Tom
If
and
you
I
let a
talked in
rescue
the
take
past.
over, what is it gonna cost the city? Not a dime.
Yeah, but she's
But
already.
providing the
They're
facility.
I disagree.
already- she just said
We
she-
paid ARF over $100,000 a year.
We didn't ask you for
They
anything.
didn't do much.
No, It's not the fact.
All you
Bill-
said was you didn't care if the animals got fed.
Who said that?
You
Who
did. We can bring the film up. Because Donald Kane said you have to have insurance to go in the shelter. And come to find out, ARF never had any kind of insurance coverage. And Donald Kane said, well, who's going to feed the animals? And you said, I'm not.
I'm not.
Hello? And then Donald said, well, I'll go. And you said, no,
How
you
does
can't.
how do you translate, I'm not gonna go feed them to, I don't care if they get fed?
Well, it's just the way you presented yourself.
Okay, well, the way you're presenting yourself is that a rescue is gonna fix everything, and it hasn't.
We've never had the opportunity.
Now,
It seems like the doors,
Can I-
the people that have run the
Rescue.
shelter down there, the doors have been shut to outside agencies. You can't go
You
in.
can't. They wouldn't let me in to adopt
They
a
won't even
cat.
talk to you.
They were their own rescue
Oh,
foundation.
that's when they did.
They're gone.
They're
Yeah.
They're
gone.
done.
Okay,
Gone.
but you still contracted employees that were with
Kennel
them.
workers.
can I answer what you said? Why don't we just stop with our legal obligation, and why would we want to have the rescue, let them just come get the animals? Well, one of the biggest reasons is the whole point of what I was getting at first is just having kennel workers on hand is only a small portion of the cost, and a city operation is not going to get the help and cooperation. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked to go to schools and other activities and things around here, taking photographs, and I'm sure she has too, of people who are having food drives, supply drives, and volunteers, and all these other things, and we don't have those resources to cover the cost of providing those, even for a specific short period of time. It's expensive because you have to get them healthy and
So,
eat.
you're
And
saying-
I'm just saying that with a rescue organization, they are better equipped at covering the cost, and part of the problems that we were talking about and bringing up that are in the past, a lot of that responsibility should come back to us, and I'll step up and say, me too. Now, I did hound the mayor a good bit about this, that when they didn't have proper supervision, I did what I could do to try to get them to, there's a number of people in this room that I went to and asked specifically, will you be on their board to help prop it back up? It's not a personal attack on ARF, but you have to have, for that to work, you have to have an organization, and I get that. I get that it failed. And but the responsibility to oversee that and oversee them has been for about a year now our responsibility, because we knew they were under supervised, and we didn't step up as a city to do that. And I don't want to see that continue on our watch. I want to fix the problem and address it with a game plan.
So your issue is you don't think, that's just one conversation, guys. You don't think that people will donate to a city-run animal shelter like they would?
Not like they would. I'm not saying we couldn't get some. I'm not saying we can't get some, but it's not as easy.
I just picked up over 1,000 pounds of dog food that was donated from Tractor Supply. It is already at the shelter.
And I know Pinecrest School just finished.
Pinecrest School just finished with donations.
And I've had calls from a lot of people that says that they're glad that the city has taken it over and they've supported. We've got cleaning supplies donated out there.
Dr. Ivy is willing to be on board.
Carol, do you have something to say?
Yeah. When you were describing, you're absolutely right. The city is in charge of animal control. I think you have to stop using the term rescue, period. Rescue foundation or rescue organizations that come in and want to take the animals that are salvageable and have them adopted, that's a different entity.
Exactly.
I have a good friend in Lebanon, Tennessee, who they run a very profitable rescue organization. The city has animal control. The city makes contact with this rescue foundation, who comes in once a week, twice a week, whatever, and takes what animals that are salvageable and can rescue. We've helped her transport animals between Tennessee and Miami and Tennessee and wherever as a waylay type of thing. So the mindset has to be what has happened in the past is over and is not going to happen again. And from this point on, the city is going to take care of animal control. And this rescue organization can assemble themselves separated. They're not a part of the city, right?
Yeah.
And then they communicate with the animal the animal
shelter.
With the shelter, right? And they take the animals that are salvageable. But folks, we can't have a no-kill because there are just some animals that are not going to be salvageable, and you're going to have to put them down. And that's just the way it is.
And that's kind of what.
And you can't. And that is animal control.
That attitude is a serious flaw of understanding. They do exist. Those do exist.
Well, that's right, but the city is not in charge of that.
I understand that. Our city is not, but there are. Yes, ma'am.
Those are
let me back up a little bit.
This way.
A couple of years ago, we had our National League convention in Austin.
Just think.
And I went there, and that's one of the primary reasons why I did. And I spent a whole day with their operation, and it's one of the most amazing things on the face of the planet.
Well, that's fine, Tom, but we're not going to do that here tonight.
I didn't ask us to do it here tonight, but just saying.
But are you saying Sylacauga's not capable of that? That we don't have the mentality to do it?
No.
I think there's a lot of
It's like
people.
this lady said right here, Biddy. You've got to change the mindset of everybody
Exactly.
else.
You got to change the way you
And
talk.
that's another one
You're not
of the
gonna
things
do it
that we're going to
in the
have
meantime. We're gonna do it in the island.
We're going to have to put some
No,
animals
that's
down.
right,
I don't see any other
I
way to do
understand
it.
you have to put them down,
Miss
but I
Chandler,
don't think
you have
we're going
something?
to just go
To
do
that
it.
end,
Oh, no, I totally agree.
Hold on.
like Samantha said, this is a mindset, and when you get down to the root of the problem is we have an overpopulation problem.
No doubt.
Issue. People say it's expensive to spay and neuter. There are tons of organizations out there that will either give you a low-cost certificate. I buy them for our dogs that we take in all the time. There are programs that help people on Medicaid, Medicare, college students, veterans. There are a ton of organizations that will help. How difficult would it be? What would be the process? And how open would the city council be when you take this to a city vote to have a mandatory spay or neuter law in this town? I mean, we don't have to worry about the county. We can start right here in the city and push out from there. But if we had a mandatory spay and neuter law, And you know, if people chose not to do, I mean, there are so many ways this could easily be done. And it can, I say easily be done. It's going to take some change because we live in a rural area. People think, you know, they want to have their dogs, but they do it up north all the time. That's why it is relatively easy to transport animals from south to north, and they are adopted like that because they simply don't have the problem that we do. So how feasible
let me ask this: with a mandatory spay and neuter law, how do you enforce it?
You phase it in over time.
No,
You got the
that's not
officers right here.
No, that's not what I asked.
Tags.
How do you do that?
How do you enforce
She's
it?
riding around.
How many of these
She's
dogs?
out.
How many of these dogs you pick up, Michelle, have collars?
A chip and a UPC reader.
There's a lot of owner dogs that don't have.
That's my point.
They've either lost
It
the
has to be
collar
fine
or
with some
they've
teeth in it.
fallen off.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
But you
When
gotta
you
start somewhere.
when
And
you
you
have
have to
dogs.
talk to other cities that implemented this and ask them what
There
the
is an
timeframe
idea
was.
with that. You want me to share it or you share it?
Go ahead.
We talked about this from the moment that I came on the council. I started meeting with her, and she came up with, I tossed a few ideas in here and there. There was something that was a focus of our animal control ordinance back when I was a kid, and it was registration. And it was something that was one of my first family responsibilities. Was our family dog, Butterball, was my responsibility to come down and get him every year. It was done as part of a program of having they're required to have the rabies and some other inoculations. And I had to take care of that at the vet, and also updated every year the registration through that process. It didn't cost much. It wasn't a big money maker, but it would create some funding to help us through this. But it also gives you the opportunity to influence the mindset of people. And this dog cannot leave your house, not just be in a fenced-in yard or chained up. They cannot leave your premises, or this is a fine you're going to face for this dog going out and helping grow the population. And it's an opportunity to educate and raise a little money for the operation. I think it's an essential part of it, and it was no big deal to me. It was part of my pet owner organization. And I want to really quick, I was a part of the pre-ARF board when we had a city-run operation, and when I and several other people, including Tommy Woolley, he was one of the folks that was on there with me. When we came on, we got a lot of support from the community, but the first time we put a healthy animal down simply because we didn't have room, we had no other resources to do it. The first time we did, that stopped immediately. It stopped. And it's what ended up creating the desire in the community for the Animal Rescue Foundation and the takeover of the operation. I didn't say it was without incidents along the way, but I also want to put some of that responsibility back on us to take a more active role in the operation and keep a watch on it with the board and communicate with them. It's all about communication, people.
And
You
what
have
about
to be involved.
records? What about records too? I mean, unless you're watching on what you bring in and what you euthanize, and especially if you let a director euthanize and not a licensed vet, it can get way out of whack. I mean, you can easily become a kill shelter and you not even know it. You sitting here and they're operating a totally different mindset than what you think that they're operating.
And I'll say again, I don't think any of us want to put animals down any more than y'all. And we're wide open. We'll be glad to work with y'all any way we can. I promise you that. I welcome y'all to come and suggest things. I'll do anything I can to keep from putting them down. I've got one myself that I adopted from out there. I don't want to put them down. We've got a couple out there now that are beautiful dogs. I don't want to see them put down. So
Need to put them on Facebook every week.
Yeah.
Well, and,
That's good.
you know,
See, that's
we can do that. We can work with any rescue and do whatever we can not to put them down.
Need to be
We as
put
a
out
city
there.
have to do a better job of a couple of things. Number one is communication. And two, accepting responsibilities. I can't tell you how many times I've had a citizen come to me and ask, well, what's the status? And I didn't know because I hadn't been informed. And if I hadn't been informed, odds are pretty strong the general public hadn't been informed. And that doesn't breed a sense of cooperation and trust. Even if everything is on the up and up in the okie doke, that's important. And I want to throw a name out there. I tried to get in touch with him for him to answer this, but a particular citizen told me he had a problem with two animals that came up to his property, and he called me and asked how to deal with it. And I told him I really don't know right now. And the two people I told him to call was the mayor and you, because I honestly didn't know how to deal with it. And the way that played out doesn't just distress me. It's everything I can do right now to keep from crying.
Well, I know the situation, and I'd rather not go into discussion about it because actually I had no shelter to take the animals to, because when the first plan went into place to shut the shelter down, not only did it shut the shelter down, but it shut me down because I had nowhere to take the animals to. So that's where we're getting the shelter back open. I'd like to get with the Aggie Vols, Sylacauga, to the seniors over there who's going to help set up with the program to get a Facebook page set up for the animal shelter to get these animals on there.
But was that recently with the sand?
He said it was.
But you said you were involved with Big Fluffy out of Nashville.
I'm not involved.
Anybody in this area would have kept those dogs to a rescue, could have come through and got them.
They were injured.
They were injured.
They were large dogs that were.
Well, he made the remark that he was told that when they die, throw them in the garbage. That's what he was told.
I don't know who told him that.
I can guarantee you it was Michelle.
And we didn't shut the shelter
Well,
down
we'll get
just
him down here and
because
find out who told him.
we didn't shut it down just because we wanted it shut down. I mean, it was horrible. It was.
I know.
Look,
The pens were gone, and there was mold and mildew and roaches that would carry you off out there. So
that shelter needed.
we almost had to shut it down to get some of the stuff done. And I'll say that it's 10 times better than it was.
How much did
right
we
now.
just put into that? 12,000?
I don't know. We're not through yet. We've still got to put several thousand more dollars into it. We're going to get up in
Ain't the city barn just right up the road?
There's heat, yeah.
Ain't the city barn just right there, right beside it?
Yeah.
Seems like somebody could walk across there and see what's going on.
The city shop's been involved with doing all this.
Yeah, they've worked with us every day.
Oh yeah.
The city shop has been
street
doing
department.
everything. The street
Well,
department
he
has.
shouldn't have got in that bad of deplorable.
Well, it's because we were leasing the building for $1 a year, and they told us they were doing maintenance on it, but
And we weren't, as I said, I accept part of that responsibility because we weren't doing a good job as a city and keeping an eye on
just walking down
the situation.
That's why, to me, with the city, there can be somebody held accountable now. Because if
Well, would y'all consider something like a mandatory stay and neuter? And maybe if the same thing, and I can even look this up to see what maybe some other counties do, but I know it's sometimes like in Pell City, they'll even offer an even more reduced stay and neuter.
Yeah, they just had $20 certificates.
And something like that, and you're going to have a whole lot of people come in.
Yeah.
Like I said, I made contact with the spay neuter clinic in Irondale today, the ones that pick up behind Cardin's. And I'm looking to hear back from the executive director, hopefully to either do the spay neuter clinic.
$35.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
But they do
But
$20
again,
certificate.
$35.
My fear and the problem, the animal control problem that we have in this city is not from responsible dog and cat owners.
No, that's right.
I mean, that's the problem.
It's from
You'd be
every other
surprised.
neighbor
Well, they're
that
not
change them on
responsible.
change.
And the
There are.
But you know, the people, for the
There's no
most
hardly
part, I
anybody
know
there,
there
go
are
every
extenuating
day.
circumstances, but the vast majority of these animals that
She's got 'em all.
Michelle is picking up are either dropped off at the shelter or they're strays with no
I
collar.
did. So did Evelyn.
The dog owner is not
I
going to
didn't
come to
know
the
it was
animal
your
shelter
friend,
and
but I know
pay
they
the
was from
fee
Tennessee.
to get them out of the
You
shelter.
knew
More or
her,
less
didn't
pay to have them spayed.
The lady from
neutered.
Tennessee.
So
Those are the ones that we
You knew
have.
her.
And
Right.
Did she get any?
a stronger animal control ordinance, which has been proposed, would go a long way toward getting people who aren't responsible pet owners
Because I work with people
from being
who,
pet owners.
who
But
I
that's
would
my
do
question,
as
though, Tom.
responsible, but they don't want to go to the part of, there's this mentality about having a male dog neutered. Because I've even had guys say to me, "Oh, I can't believe you had him neutered," and I'm like,
I mean, I
Duh.
can believe you could. I didn't believe you
Let them
could.
have
So,
I want them to have a
that's
person
where
there.
you have to break into that mentality.
Well-
a small town.
An ordinance, you know, Tom, we can make the first offense $15,000 if we wanted to, but how do you? Michelle picks up a dog. The dog doesn't have a collar. Who are you going to find?
You go to the shelter and you advertise that dog every day.
And besides
But
that,
advertise.
the thing is,
No. I'm talking about who are you going to find? Who is going to get the ticket? If there's no owner,
If the owner doesn't step forward, then we adopt it.
There is
First
an
thing
owner.
you need
Somebody
to
was
do-
feeding it. They just didn't have a collar around it.
well, that's what
Because
I'm
they didn't
saying.
want to be responsible.
But those people
But
aren't
if
going
you
to
walk-
come
if
forward
you-
and say, "Hey,
you
that's
keep-
my dog. I'd love to pay that
It
fine."
won't
go
take
back-
but 2 or 3 people to
Again.
find, and it'll get somebody's
If you
attention.
go
canvass
back-
the neighborhood where you pick it up, you're more than likely going to find 1 or 2 homes that it's been living in. There's your 2 homes.
Okay.
well,
yeah.
one of the things too is
And I've
it's
had
looking for
owners call
people.
me and say, "I'm not going to pick the dog up. Just put it down."
Yeah, well,
That's-
there's
There's
your.
a lot of
And
those.
you
We're
say,
also
okay,
going
well,
to need
I'm gonna
about
find
10
him.
animal control
Well-
officers.
So you owe the city
So-
Well, I just know that
$100.
other cities are able to do it, and it's
We
just
can do
maybe
it too.
something that,
There,
you know,
and that's
you need
what
a
Michelle and I have been to.
partnership
We've been to Birmingham, to the Greater Humane Birmingham Society.
Kelsey.
We've been to Pell City, and that's what we're trying. We're trying to make
Birmingham
ourselves more like some of
implemented-
these people that
Birmingham
it's working.
implemented several years ago that you can't chain a dog. I'm sure at the beginning they
Ellen
had
City did it.
downtown Birmingham did too.
Well, Gardendale.
I'm sure that they had an influx of animals to begin with, but after that,
But making certain that an animal is vaccinated and registered is part of that education process of getting irresponsible pet owners out of the pet ownership business.
Yeah.
They will
And then-
get out
and then
of it
that
if
gets
you
a
can
collar
readily
on it.
identify that that's their dog, and if they don't, then they should be held accountable. I mean, and it's not looking for people to find.
No. I don't.
And it's
They're
nothing-
they're not going to. Hey, is this your dog, sir? No. If the animal control officer's coming up, the dog doesn't have a collar. The animal control officer comes up with the dog. That person knows if I say yes, I'm about to get a ticket. That person's
but
not going
that
to say,
person
"Yeah,
may
that's
not
my
get
dog."
another dog either.
They're, do
Yeah,
what?
you can
But that
register, don't
person
ever
may
let them
not
have
get
another
another
dog.
dog either.
Not if you don't know. That's what I'm saying. You can't. These people are not just going to come out and say, "Yeah, that's my dog." That you don't know. There's no way. My
I know
fear
that
is
part,
to
but what I'm
enforce
saying
it.
is by approaching them, that person may not get another dog. So there goes one of your unresponsible. It's going to be a slow process. Nobody said
And
it
we're
was
not
going
going
to
to have
be easy.
more animals because we have a registration and a stronger ordinance.
You gotta go into it with positive attitude and try to get it done, and it might take 10 years.
And that's what we're trying to do, Speedy. That's like you're talking about. You used to be charged $25 if you took an animal out there. We're not charging that anymore. We're only
That's
charging
right.
$15.
All right.
It's not
And,
looking for
you know,
people
we're
to find,
trying to
it's
do
having the
things that are
tools
reasonable
to deal with it.
to
And
try to
how
help this
about the
situation.
mother dog that had the litter?
Well,
Are you going to spay her
No.
Yes.
Well,
and
if,
give her
if,
back?
if she's
No.
give her
'Cause
back,
that's what I would
give her back to who now?
Whoever wants the dog, whoever had the dog.
No.
Are you going to spay the mother dog?
Well, I
Or are you
would
just
I
taking
would
the
say,
puppies in? Because you're going to do that every 6 months.
Mhm.
yeah.
If they bring the dog and the mama dog and the puppies in and you surrender to the shelter, no, you're not getting. Once you surrender to the shelter, owner surrender that I can't take care of it, that person can't come back and get it unless it's under different circumstances.
That's not what she's
Are
talking
you
about.
gonna
If they
have-
show
are
up
you
with
gonna
puppies
help
without
them
bringing
out?
mama, do you have a system in place to get mama fixed so you don't do
Yeah,
this
they have the
every 6
$20
months?
spay neuter voucher.
From
that
where?
they-
You already got them.
I'm not
Oh,
talking
the
about for
Birmingham.
the puppies. I'm talking about for mama.
Right,
Mhm.
right. If they want to come, Pell City has the spay neuter vouchers. It's $20
Yeah,
voucher.
but it's
It
a
costs-
limited amount to get too.
Yeah, and I've made a call to them, okay? I'm waiting on them to call me back, how to set up for this zip code to get the spay neuter certificates for $20.
They'll give you so many every so often.
That's
My
right.
brother's real good friends with her.
Okay, that's
I'll
what,
put him up there
that's
tomorrow.
how we're gonna have to start implementing
that's
here. You're gonna have to, they already pick up here. And believe me, people, you don't know how many times the calls that I go to that I try to educate, spay neuter. How many calls have I been to? My dog is being attacked by another dog, and I get there, and I'm sorry, but the male dog is breeding her, but they're thinking that it's to educate the public on, okay, there is an ordinance in there. If your female dog is in heat, it has to be contained in the building. Okay, now enforcing that, I don't want to have to cite you, but I'm trying to tell you, put your dog up away from these male dogs because they're going to attract them. Okay, so I go back out there and I tell them again, I'll write them a warning. Your dog has to, well, why do I have to put my dog up? These dogs are the problem. No, your female dog is the problem. Here is the information. I carry a
They
flyer
are the
with
problem.
me, a card with me to the spay neuter clinic. Tell them to call Cardinals and find out when they come and pick up. I need help in the public as well. As
So you
to
can print a
spread the
calendar
word.
monthly off their website.
We've got an education program ready to go.
We're gonna move on.
Just let me say one thing. We're gonna do everything we can not to put any more animals
Did you
down
hear
than we
everyone
have
tell
to.
you she had an education program ready to go to the
Well,
states?
there again,
I've got
I'm
the
wide
lady that
open. Come to
ran the
me and
Shelby County shelter
we'll
for
work with
12
y'all
years.
any
ready
way
to
we
run
can. Like I said, I don't want to put animals down any more than you do.
Okay,
So
moving on.